And I want to talk about few things. I specifically wrote culture in Germany because um, some of you would want to think about Germany as your future education option or a work option, and I think understanding a few things about Germans will come definitely in handy whether you want to decide for it or not. One thing you will find in common with almost every German is there is a lot of attention to detail here. Germans are obsessed with details. They always want to understand everything in detail from top to bottom and know why is it this way, what is it this, how much does it cost, why is the cost like this, stuff like this. They will ask you a lot of questions. And if they don't understand something to the nth detail, they usually won't be interested in it. So just for, I'm particularly raising this point because in my experience, I see that in our culture, attention to detail is not in so much focus. As long as we trust somebody and they tell us something, we will just agree to it and then we will go on with it. He told me, I trust him, that's it. I don't need to know the details. Germans are not like that. When they are interested with something and when they want to do something, they will get to the nth detail and they will want to know everything that they want it to know. You guys are pretty young and probably do not have exposure to different kinds of presentations that different countries do, but generally in Germany, when you are presenting something, whether it's in a talk, whether it's a product that you're selling, whether it's a paper that you present in your university as a thesis, or whether it is a birthday present or whatever it is, people look for content more than presentation. So let's say I take this, I make this and I'm manufacturer of this phone and I'm trying to sell this to Germans. How it looks is important. I'm not saying it is not important, but how it works is far more important than how it looks. And you cannot take Germans for granted on this. They will focus on what the features of this phone are. How much is the battery life? How good is the screen lighting? How good is the touch functioning? How good is the internet connectivity and stuff like this? They will look at all those features and say, that's what I use a phone for. That is more important than how it looks. At the end of it, if you package it badly, of course, they won't buy it. But first, content much more than presentation. If your presentation is not so good, if it's average, but you have a really good content to present, trust me, you will get the buy-in from Germans. Respect. Somehow I feel this, and sometimes I find this also, different people understand different things about respect. I keep going back to my references about our culture because that's what we all can easily connect with. And one of the things that I have learned, having lived outside of India for almost 12 years now, is our understanding of respect, our idea of respect is something different from other people's idea of respect. For us, respect usually means being polite, not raising our voice, using respectful words like G, Garu, Sir, stuff like this, and not calling elders by names, always putting suffixes like Anna, Uncle, Bhaiya, Bapuji, Dadaji, etc. etc. And never telling no to an elder person when they ask something. These are the different things that we associate with respect. Treatment of women also, for example, if you're outside and if you're looking at a woman, it is considered disrespect. No matter what intention you have and no matter why, or maybe she's in danger and you actually want to signal something to her, but still, general perception is you're looking at a woman, you must be like that. So things like this. Disrespect, basically. But the idea is this. Germans' understanding of respect is a little different. They will never refrain from fighting with you. They will always complain to you if you do something wrong. But they will never use personal references. Things like, when you, for example, just in the context, let's take, if you have a fight between two people in India, usually on the road, how many times will you hear bad words being yelled at from either side? Almost all the times, right? If not both, at least one of them will come to this point where they will use abusive words for the family, for the khandan, for the mother, for the child, for the sister. You can take everything. And there are people who also take family backgrounds, the kind of work you, let's say you're a barber or you're a cobbler or you're a washerman, they use that reference as a disrespect when you have a fight and you say, "Tera kya hoga tu ye hai? What are you? You are this," and they use that as showing their disrespect to the other person. Germans will never do that. And trust me, I have seen so many fights both at work and in personal life. They will talk to you in the face, they will show you all anger, they will be hot red in their face, that they will tell you exactly what you have done wrong, and they will put you on the spot, no matter what others think around you, and show you that you have done something shamefully wrong. But they will never use your color, your language, your background, your height, your disability, whatever it is, to disrespect. And I respect Germans a lot because of this aspect. I do something wrong, I get caught. They will tell me, you are doing something wrong, but they will never tell you, tu kala hai, tu chota hai, tu hai. They will never do that kind of stuff. And I think, personally, having made so many friends in Germans, I think they actually don't even think like that. They don't associate respect with what they see or what the other person earns or where the other person was born or what color that person is, how much hair the guy has on his hair and stuff like this. This is a really important aspect, and I think we as Indians, in general, I'm not saying you guys are bad, but I think we Indians in general have a lot to learn from Germans in that respect. You have a fight, you have a problem, talk about the problem. No? You did something wrong, I will talk to you and I will tell you, "Tune ye galat kiya hai, but what right have I got to abuse your mother? What does it bring?" More importantly, one, I'm disrespecting your mother, I'm insulting you, but more importantly, how is it solving my problem? If I explain to you the issue that you have created, the problem you have created, the mistake you have done, there is a chance that you will improve yourself. There is a chance that you will do something else tomorrow. But if I abuse your mother, you will only take revenge on me, right? Think about it that. So absolutely, you should know no personal references when you're talking to Germans. Only work, only objective content. This one, I think, is really, really important for our culture. We grow up in a culture where living together 3-4 generations is very, very common. We always live with our parents. We always live also with our grandparents, depending on where we are. Nowadays, some of the younger kids, we are moving out, we are going to different cities for work and for education and stuff like this. But traditionally, we've always lived together, right? And that's the whole model also. We still take a lot of pride in living together with our families. Family is so important. For Germans also, family is not important, it is important. But they are used to the culture of being individual right from childhood. I'll give you an example. This was really interesting. I just saw it last weekend. I went to meet a bunch of friends in Stuttgart. I have some friends who are married and they have kids, and we were hanging out together. And we went out into some park. We were strolling, and one of my friends, he has a 1-year-old kid, and he had some toy in his hand. And we were in the park. We were playing, and another kid, some German kid, came and. My friends, they were telling their son to share that toy with that German kid. This kid, their kids are very, very curious, right? 1-year-old, they don't think much. And he was hanging on to his toy as if the other kid had come to steal it from him. And his parents were urging him, "No, beta, share. That's how we are raised. And we are always taught to share with things with other people and stuff like this." Germans will not do it. Germans will tell their kids, say, "This is your toy, you decide. If you want to share, do it, we will not stop you. If you don't want to share, don't share it. But we will not tell you that you have to share." That's a minute cultural difference, but that is how they grow up. This happens right from the age when they have not yet learned to speak a word. This is how the whole family culture grows in Germany. At every single juncture, kids are encouraged to make decisions for themselves. Which brings in this attitude of, I take responsibility for my own life, I am responsible for my actions, I need to understand stuff so that I can make better decisions and stuff like this. And then once you reach the age of 16, 18, some stuff like that, kids usually move out of the house. They don't live with their parents anymore. Either they go to some university and study on their own. Parents support this education by paying some money and lot of the support comes from the state because most of the education in Germany is state sponsored. But otherwise, they live on their own and they are expected to take care of themselves. In fact, many Germans consider it an insult for themselves if they are dependent on their parents after they get a driver's license, which is about age 16, 18. This is how it is. So this culture of being individual, I'm taking responsibility for my own life, I am responsible for all my actions, my thoughts, my decisions, is very, very high in Germany. And nothing wrong, we're just not used to it. But when you want to work here, when you want to settle here, you need to get adjusted to this mentality. A lot of their actions will be a result of this individualistic action. Another simple example, if you want to understand this, what do you do usually? Let's say you are at a bus station or you are at a railway station and you are trying to board a train and you see one elderly woman is coming with some heavy luggage. What is your general response if you were in India and she's alone? You would ask, Maji, can I help? Or at least you would say, can I help? And then usually they will give it and then we will do it. If you do it here, they will take offense. Not everybody, but usually they will ask for help if they are not able to do work on their own. If they are able to drag it on their own, however slow they may be moving, and we may think they are weak and they are not, it's very heavy for them, but if they are dragging, it means they know what they are dragging and they will take care of themselves. So be careful about it. It's just a cultural difference. You don't intend to offend the other person. You don't have any wrong intention. In fact, you have positive intentions. You want to help the other person. But for the other person, it means that they are not able to take care of themselves, that they are weak, and they will take it as an insult of an offense. So you need to understand this difference. Yeah? Rules. You need to understand this. Germany is a country of rules. This is a very common joke that I use with my friends. You want to get something done in Germany, you create a rule for it, it will get done. If there is a rule, something to be done, if there is a rule to kill somebody, I think people will kill them because it's a rule. I'm exaggerating, they don't do it, but that's how this country is built. There are a lot of rules. People have thought a lot about a lot of things. Going back to my first point about attention to detail, about every single aspect, they have thought a lot. They've worked in teams, they've considered different aspects, they've tested it a lot, and they've come up with a lot of rules about many, many things. And this is, because this is the culture, everyone is used to this aspect, they inform themselves. They read a lot about these rules and they follow these rules very, very strictly. So if you are not able to follow some rule, you don't follow some rule, you break, you have some violation, because you say, oh, I didn't know this rule, this is not an excuse. You are expected to read and understand all this stuff. Ignorance is never an excuse here. Let's say, I'll take an example just for you to understand this aspect, what I mean by it. You pay bill for your electricity, and there is a particular frequency at which you pay, either quarterly, yearly, monthly, whatever it is, depending on the energy company that you pay for. You agree on a contract, and they will write to you in the contract specifically what is the frequency at which you have to pay, in what mode, and stuff like this. Let's say you don't pay it. There are also rules which says if you do not pay by the due date, you will be charged this additional amount. If you do not pay that also after 7 days of this due date, then you will be charged another amount and stuff like this. And they will stick to those rules. After 7 days, you go back to them and say, oh shit, I forgot my internet was down, I was traveling, I was not in the country at all, and I didn't have any network. Oh sorry, my bank account was blocked, stuff like this. Understood? I empathize with you, I'm sorry that it happened. Pay the fee, everything is fine. It's as simple as that, because, and people also, you will see it more often than not, once you start getting used to people here. They know they missed a due date, they will never ask for a waiver. Shit, I didn't pay it, okay, I'll pay the fee. It's common, it's that much ingrained into people. They know what rules, because they have created the rules for the society to be better, and they stick to it. I'm pretty sure a lot of you know this, and you might already be exposed to some part of it, but for most people coming, especially from Asian cultures, and I'm not talking only about Indian culture, but all Southeast Asian, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Thai, Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, India, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, whatever it is, All our cultures, we have a different kind of setup when it comes to social interactions. Um, just the same thing, the other example I was talking about. When an elderly person asks a question to you, usually our approach is try to say it in as many words as possible, going around the topic so that the other person understands you're saying no. That is usually the approach we see. And this is not something I'm saying out of my own experience, but there are lots of scientific studies and researchers, social researchers, which have shown that in the Southeast Asian or in the Asian cultures, this is the prevalent mechanism that people use to say no. They do not know how to say directly no. Let's say I ask you, I need you to be at my place at 17 to do this work, but you have some other commitments at 17. Answer should be no, I cannot come because I have another commitment. But we never do that, saying that no directly. We say, usual response is, let's see, let's see. And then usually you don't show up. And then you wait, actually, you will see till about 16:50, if that 17 appointment gets cancelled, then you go to this place and say, okay, 10 minutes late, chalega till me, right? Or at least later you will say, you go there and that thing didn't work out, and then you turn up at 8 o'clock, yeah, I missed the train or whatever it is. We are very used to lying. The reason is, it's not like we are chronic liars or anything, but it's because that's the way our culture has brought us up. And we face more problems if we tell no than if we tell lies, because of which we are used to it. Here, people are not like that. People are very straightforward. In fact, when there are conflict situations, they can be so direct and straightforward to you, you will start feeling offended because you're not used to that straightforwardness in India. Because in our culture, that is not encouraged at all. They are very, very straightforward. A lot of the people complain that Germans are rude. Germans are not rude. They are very straightforward. They are very to the point. They are not, I'll put it this way, they don't try to earn your goodwill by being nice to you. They will earn your goodwill by being respectful to you, by being truthful to you, but not by lying to you. They don't want to. They never encourage. And here is the important thing. Because they have such a high standard, the moment they find out that you lied to them once, you will lose their trust for a lifetime. It's so important. Because in general, I'll give you multiple examples. I can talk about this, but let's take a few examples. Let's say, as I said, there are lots of rules, there is a lot of administration, you have to fix appointments and stuff like this. That point will come up later. But let's say you have an appointment at the bank and you have an important topic to discuss or some matter to settle, and you fix an appointment and you say, I will turn up at the bank at 13. And for some reason you missed it. Either because of your ignorance, you have not planned enough, or you missed the bus, or something really important had come up and you had to give more priority to that issue, so on and so forth. But you did not inform bank that you will not be able to come to the 13th appointment. What they expect is, if you know that you won't be able to make that appointment, then call them, inform them. But you didn't do it. You go later. Generally here, Germans, if that happens, usually, 95-96% of the times, they will call and inform. If they can't reach, they will send a message in one way or the other, email or whatever it is, that they will not be able to make the appointment, even before the appointment time. Even if it means 5 minutes before or 2 minutes late, they will let them know. If they can't do it for some reason, let's say because of some extraordinary circumstances, I landed up in a situation where I had no phone network and I had no mobility. So I couldn't communicate to my bank that I won't be able to make it to the appointment in any way. I missed the appointment. Later when I go to the bank, I will apologize and I will tell them the truth. It was my bad, I didn't plan well, things didn't work out for me, absolutely my problem, I'm really sorry, can we fix a new appointment? They will never try to earn the excuse of the other person saying, oh, sorry, but this happened, I couldn't do anything. They don't do this. Again, I have to be very, very careful about me saying this. I'm not saying that 100% of Germans are like this. Obviously, there will be some exceptions everywhere. You cannot make a generalization out of your own experience. I definitely don't want to make that. But almost all the Germans that I have constantly interacted with, whether it is taxi drivers, pizza delivery guys, shop owners, ticket vendors at the railway stations, bus drivers, office people, bank, telephone company, whatever it is, I have never seen people try to come up with false excuses just because they were not able to do something. Not happened with me at least in 8.5 years. A lot of my friends tell me about the same thing. There are of course one or two people who do it, but more often than not, they are not Germans. They've been living here for some time, but they are from some other culture. But remember that they're really very straightforward. They will earn your respect by being straightforward and truthful, but not by being nice to you. This is one very, very peculiar experience that I had in the beginning. I didn't mention this to you guys, but I had learned German language before I came to Germany. And one of my German teachers is a native German. So basically, she's a German, and she told us a lot of things about the German culture, how people here will be, and so on and so forth. So I had a little bit of understanding about how Germans will be before I came, and this is one aspect which she did mention to us, that Germans have a very clear distinction between their work relationships and personal relationships. They don't mix each other. And she lived in India. By that time, she was living for about 6-7 years in India. Her husband was working in a multinational company in Bangalore, so that's why she shifted, and she was teaching German in Bangalore. So she said, I've gotten used to so much of Indian culture now, so I need to tell you about this because this is not common in India. We mix both relationships easily. We get friendly with some person, it doesn't matter whether he is a colleague or not. We do all the things, right? We get so friendly. We don't like some person at work and we take it outside also. Generally, again, I'm not generalizing, but that's the common behavior that we notice. Here, people don't do it. They have a very strict demarcation between what personal relationships and work relationships. At work, they will keep to work only. They will talk, however much they don't like you, for whatever reason, they will talk about work and they will keep it to work only. A personal relationships outside depends on what they think of you as a person. If you are a nice person, you are a friendly person, they will give all their attention to you, they will be extremely friendly, they will embrace you like a family member. They don't like your attitude, they don't like your approach, forget it, no discussion, they'll just go away. But they don't mix work with personal relationships. That's something I really find really interesting. Those are the things specifically about German culture, but of course that is not the entirety of what German culture is, but those are the things that I felt were really, really important when I came to Germany and made a huge difference to my understanding of German culture and Germans in general. And those are the things that most of the people keep telling me that makes a difference when they understand